Thank you. Debbie Wiseman, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
More music now from the singer-songwriter Melissa Laveau, whose exciting new album, how am I going to pronounce it? Radio Sewell? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah. Has just been released. You were born and brought up in Montreal, Canada, but your parents, your family's from Haiti, and this album was a result of going to visit that country.
It's an ode to my grandmother. I wanted to polish a little bit of history, Haitian history that isn't an earthquake or a natural disaster or a dictator.
I think you'd been there before. You'd been there as a child.
As a child, and then I moved away in my early 20s to France, where I now live for the past 10 years. And I didn't have any funds to, struggling musicians don't necessarily have funds to have a nice trip to Haiti because it's not a country that's built for tourism.
No.
Not yet. And when I finally had the money and I thought I had something to say, I decided to go.
And did you feel at home there, or did it feel like visiting a country you had no knowledge of?
It felt like I was coming home to visit an aunt I hadn't visited in a long time.
Yeah.
So everyone was very welcoming. Everyone was correcting my Creole. Everyone was making fun of me. But it was very familial.
Okay. So what are you going to be doing for us today?
I'll be playing La Maman Tes Cheval Moi, which is a traditional Vodou folk song. And it refers to a part of Vodou in ceremony where there's possession. And when you're possessed by a spirit, a divinity, they're riding you. And there's this element of eroticism in it.
Oh, I see,
So it says, to translate roughly, it says, when I ride my horse, somebody is bound to yell.
I see, yes, I think I've got that. So just introduce who else you're playing with. You've got...
On bass, we have Élise Blanchard. And on drums, well, on SPDS, we have Rémi Fervus.
Excellent. Okay, Melissa Laveau. much indeed, Melissa Laveau. Now we have all the way from Chicago, singer, songwriter, musician Ezra Furman here with his band The Visions. Ezra was last on Loose Ends a couple of years ago in a radio theatre show we did. He was then with the band The Boyfriends. So how do The Visions differ from The Boyfriends?
Well, it's the same people in the band.
Yeah.
We have sort of a transformed mission.
All right. And so what is different about the music then, or the mission?
Well, we were doing love letters to 20th century music before.
Yeah.
I'm less concerned with early rock and roll and more obsessed with weird tales of angels, strange digital mutilations.
Okay. So Transangelic Exodus is the name of your album. So how would you describe it overall as a piece of work?
Oh, it's a total mess. It's like, it's crazy. It's like, it's way too ambitious.
Yeah.
But it's like a dream, you know? And I like that kind of stuff. You have to submit to his dream logic. Right.
Now, but the track you're doing today, which is called "Love You So Bad," this is a classic track. I mean, you've come up with a classic. This is the sort of thing. If John Peel were alive, he would play this, and they would play it again, and he would play it again on his show. I'm fairly confident of that. All right. So here we go. Ezra Furman and The Visions with "Love You So Bad."
You know I love you so bad. I don't believe in love. You know I love you so bad. So bad. You know I love you so bad. Like the kid at the back of the classroom who can't do the math 'cause he can't see the blackboard. So bad. You know I love you so bad. Like the kids skipping class in the bathrooms, sneaking cigarettes underneath the football bleachers, baby, so bad. You know I love you so bad. Like the kids growing up to be criminals, tearing pages out the back of the hymnals, but love knows, baby, so bad. I still remember so bad the nights Mom got drunker than Dad did. She told me never hang out with the bad kids. Well, what can you say to that? I always knew I was bad, always dreaming, so they called me the spaceman. You first kissed me in your parents' blue basement. Wanted you, baby, so bad. Sometimes we got out of hand. We bought drugs from the parking attendant. The sober nights in your car were transcending. Loved you, baby, so bad. You know I loved you so bad. Somehow you got yourself accepted to college. You said there had to be a way out of all this garbage, small town rat trap. You moved away, that was that. You still sent me the occasional email. I got a dumb job working in retail. Missed you, baby, so bad. I drew your name in the sand. Came to the beach 'cause we used to go here. I watched a blue wave cover it over, do what the ocean does best. I know the past is the past, but then again the present's nothing without it. I feel fine, don't even feel sad about it. I just love you, baby, so bad. Wow, 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 so bad, so wow, wow, wow.
More music now. It's the turn of Son of Sam. No connection, I'm hoping, with the famous New York serial killer of that name. This Son of Sam are a gang of four who first got together in 2003 to produce funky, soulful, hip-hop sounds. So who have you got with you today? Can you introduce the band?
Yes, we've got John on drums, Joe on bass, Rich on keys, Lifford and Blaze doing the vocals today, and we've got Bex and Craig joining us on violins.
Yes, so you're no relation to there's another band called Son of Sam in the 2000s.
Metal band,
yeah, metal band. You're no connection with them.
No.
No, okay. Now, and you're an album out called Cinder Hill, and what's the significance of that?
John and Joe's surname is Sam. The whole band is based around those guys, really, and the area their family home is called Cinder Hill.
Jolly good. So what are you going to be performing for us today?
The track's called Fighting Talk.
Okay, Fighting Talk, Son of Sam.
Show me where to go, remove the light on the lonely road, but I pull out my flashlight, whoa, yeah. You wanna mark me, stop my river flowing, see my light from your little hole, or wherever it is you go, whoa, yeah. Well, I'm standing on the verge of reality, yeah. Still I won't let you get to me.
I'm a spirit before a body, body before a human, human before any category. Born stupid yet intelligent with potential to ruin life, or choose to improve it, or passively cycle through it and lose it. What a pity and a waste, the destination of many, living a life barely worth living, let alone worth remembering when I'm gone. Please no sympathy, it's not really the end of me, I'm just returning to my original form of energy potential. It's just as real as reality, like every single great truth that began as a blasphemy. I'm unreasonable, man, let the planet adapt to me.
Give me your poison.
Yeah.
Take a shot of your venom.
Come on.
Try to knock me down, but look, I'm still standing up. I'm standing up. I still stand alone. Fighting talk.
Could you ever create it if it's something you ain't got faith in? Whether it's a human relationship or space station, manifestation of the abstract. What a hobby, either change the course of history or be dismissed as artsy. It's malarkey, been darkening my heart. On the track I'm spitting hard, then departing in the dark, then returning to the peace within the turbulent urban life that I'm living. Where one's own mind can be his prison, the source of his upliftment, worst enemy or his first friendship. Bringing new light to your life like a birthed infant. I burn incense out of respect for my neighbors while I flame up and contemplate my next major change up. Funny how sometimes we can resist the things that change us for the better. Still I remain a go-getter.
You wanna mark me, but you don't have my number, so don't pick up the phone and tell me how it is. No, you will not outsmart me, so take a second look. Not everything is in the book.
Do a different job.
Well, I'm standing on the verge of reality, so I won't let it get to me, though. Fighting, while we're fighting, yeah, yeah. Fighting, yeah, yeah. Fighting, fighting, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
More music now on Loose Ends, and we welcome back Jake Shears, former Scissor Sisters frontman. Today we celebrate your debut solo album. So Jake, you moved from LA to New Orleans. Very different energy. What was calling you to NOLA, as they call it?
I'd always wanted to go to New Orleans. It had just been my dream. When my band would go through town and play, I had the best time. I loved the city. Yeah, it was just a dream, and I kind of had this crossroads in my life where I really didn't know what to do. So I got a one-way ticket and packed my bag, and I left.
And you have picked the creme de la creme of producers, musicians to create this solo album.
Lance, who's playing piano here, wrote a bunch of the album with me. And we wrote it in New Orleans and then ended up recording everything from the ground up in Louisville, Kentucky. With loads of Kentucky musicians. So, yeah, everything is live on the record. Every song is one live take.
Well, you can definitely feel it. You're going to perform the lead single from the album. It's called Creep City. What does Creep City mean, by the way?
And this is something I've never really talked about with it. I was inspired by the last act of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and it's sort of about Eddie the detective. Like, I don't know, I was just inspired by his being trapped in Toontown. And the song is kind of a letter from Toontown in a way, which I've sort of redubbed Creep City. I know that sounds like really abstract and weird, but that's sort of...
Over to you, Jake Shears.
Awesome. Okay. You said to come and sort your mind, but did you mean it? Ooh, but did you mean it? Then warmed the bread and poured the wine. I thought I'd seen it all until you broke that seventh wall. I said I'd hang on for the ride. Now I'm hanging on for dear life. Is that a real knife? Get me out of this creep city. I'm flat broke and I don't need pity right now. Just get me out, 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 out. All the dogs in the back been smothered, and these cats don't make good lovers. This town's on cursed ground, ground, ground. Was the judge not clear? Just have a look at them ears, full of ice cream sundaes, fun, and no one wondered whose thumb I was under. Never gave a goddamn. I gave you 21 grand, 'cause baby I love you more than the trash can. I said I'd give it one more try. Now I'm giving up the good life. I'd make a bad wife. Get me out of this creep city. I'm flat broke and I don't look pretty right now. Just get me out, 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 out. All the dogs in the back been smothered, and these cats don't make good lovers. This town's on cursed ground, 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 ground. And if there's a sign to show me from this world back to mine, oh, tell me you'll try, or at least please reply. Sincerely, I'll be waiting till I die. No, I'm never gonna shave my thighs. Creep City. Some down here's alive.
Sure.
Now we have time for some music in the studio from the chart-topping, soul-singing, West End performing, broadcasting superstar Beverly Knight, MBE. The last time she joined us on Loose Ends, Beverly, you were starring in Memphis, the musical, but now you're on stage again, but taking on the works of Stevie Wonder. It's for the radio and also at the Palladium.
That's right, yeah.
Plenty of songs to choose from.
Living legend, so
Yeah.
I'm over the moon about that. And I was really, really glad to be asked as well. It was a real honour.
So it's you on stage with an orchestra?
With an orchestra.
Are they on stage with you or in the pit? How have you got it?
They will be on stage
Excellent.
with me.
Yeah, and as have the works of Stevie Wonder always meant a lot to you?
Oh, God, absolutely. The first voice that I can ever remember coming out of a radio was Stevie Wonder's voice, and it was the song Sir Duke.
And you can remember that?
I remember it. My whole life is kind of defined by everything I've ever done. I kind of remember things by music.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty decent summer.
Yeah.
And I must have been around 4 or something like that. I was already singing at church with my mum, already pestering my mum to sing. And the song was blaring out of the radio, but the bit, all I could remember was da, 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 over, and that was what I was singing over and over again, driving everybody mad. And my mum was like, "What is this song she's singing? I don't understand." So, and my sister was like, "It's the new Stevie Wonder song."
All right. And how do you cope with the strains and stresses of a performing career? It's well known that you're somebody, you don't drink, you don't take drugs, you're a well-behaved person, but that wouldn't apply to absolutely everybody around you the whole time.
No, I mean, I just, my love and my passion is the music. That is what I love. So I kind of, the other stuff is for other people, but it's just not for me. No, I mean, it's just not my bag.
Right.
Now, buying shoes, that's my addiction all day long.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that's fascinating, but unfortunately I haven't got any more time talking about shoe buying. So,
well, we'd need a long time to talk about me and my shoes.
Yeah, but so you're going to do a Stevie Wonder song for us.
Yes.
And what are you going to do for us?
I'm going to sing Stevie's classic from Inner Visions, Higher Ground.
Higher Ground. Well, it's a very well-known song by him.
Yes.
People also might know by the Red Hot Chili Peppers as well.
That's right, the Chili Peppers.
For the younger listeners, they
did a great version.
Okay, it's Beverly Knight, accompanied by Graham Taylor, with Higher Ground.
People keep on learning. Soldiers keep on warring. World keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Keep on lying while your people keep on dying. World, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Oh no. I'm so let me try it again, 'cause my last time on earth I lived a whole lot of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I knew then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. Oh yes. Teachers keep on teaching. Preachers keep on preaching. World, keep on turning, 'cause it won't be too long. Oh yes. Lovers keep on loving. Believers keep on believing. Sleepers just stop sleeping, 'cause it won't be too long. Oh no. I'm so darn glad you let me try it again, 'cause my last time on earth I lived a whole lot of sin. I'm so glad that I know more than I know then. Gonna keep on trying till I reach my highest ground. highest ground. And no one's gonna bring me down. Oh no, till I reach my highest ground.
Okay, that's excellent. Jeff Goldblum. We're hearing from Jeff in just a moment, on his way to becoming a musical icon as well as an acting legend, with the release of his first album, The Capitol Studio Sessions. And he'll be playing for us in the studio with his very own orchestra. Can I just ask you about the acting, though? So it's Jeff Goldblum, whose fabulously extensive film career has taken in great blockbusters such as Jurassic Park, 1, 2, 3, I may have lost count now, cult hits like The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, and of course The Fly, The Grand Budapest Hotel, Isle of Dogs, and a whole heap of, well, they're always pretty cool movies when you're in them. I don't know why that would be.
But really, you know, it's not so esoteric. Acting is not rocket science, and you're just trying to pretend good. But that's it. That really is it. And every good actor, no matter how they've come to it, is doing that.
But in terms of film acting, you were in The Tall Guy.
And it was Emma Thompson's first movie, who's one of the great people on earth and one of the great artists.
And you had a fantastic sex scene with her, which is both sexy and funny.
Thank you very
Which is an unusual combination. I mean, some of us can pull it off, but some of us can just get the funny.
She was wonderful.
Yes.
She was wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, and now look, Jurassic Park. Did you realise this was going to be a big movie when you got off at the bottom? You think, wait a minute, bringing dinosaurs back to life, what's going on here?
Well, I'd read that Michael Crichton book,
which
was not only popular but very beautiful, and Steven Spielberg was going to direct it, so these were the elements of something that could be good and popular, and didn't think it would be as good or popular, but there it is.
And what about Michael Winnow? I think you worked with, was your very first movie.
I had a British connection. That was my very first movie in 1973, long before any of you were born. He yelled at me, as he was known to yell at other people. The very first shot I ever had in that movie, he said, "Goldblum, start acting now." Well, it was harsh. It was harsh, but now that I think of it in the years, I think it's a good piece of direction. Just start acting. That's all you really need.
Go. Okay. So what are you going to play for us now? What are you going to do?
I didn't know this song, but Dr. Billy Taylor wrote this song, and you know it.
Yeah, I know.
It's called I Wish
I Knew.
I Knew How It Felt to Be Free.
Yeah, and now people will recognize this as home, so we'll say it's a tribute to Barry Norman.
Barry Norman. You know, it's the song that starts off that show. So sing along if you know it.
Okay, so here we go with Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Schnitzer Orchestra. Well, that's just about it for 2018 from Radio 4 and from Loose Ends. Do come back every Saturday evening in 2019 to join me and my guests for more music, comedy and conversation. But as we head towards midnight, Happy New Year to you all, and here's Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Schnitzer Orchestra.
Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free by Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Schnitzer Orchestra, ending Loose Ends Lounge, which was produced by Suki Firth and Susie Roylance. And that's almost it for 2018. In a moment on Radio 4, the Midnight News, the first of 2019, and then we've another festive story drawn from the four corners of the British Isles. You'll know that the chimes of Big Ben haven't been ringing out across London since 2017, while a major programme of repairs has been carried out. Tonight they've turned on one of the bells, so you will get to hear the New Year rung in live from the Palace of Westminster in just a moment. However, be warned, you won't hear the quarter chimes beforehand, as those bells aren't back on just yet. Before the bells, news on an all-day New Year drama.
Bad times, Your Excellency. Glorious new days for this Sicily of ours. You're subsidizing the revolution now. The rest will be as it was before. If we want things to stay as they are, things will have to change.
A beguiling tale about family and survival in 19th century Sicily.
It'll take any number of Victor Emmanuels to change this magic potion forever being poured for us.
Alex Jennings reads Giuseppe Tomasi de Lampedusa's masterpiece,
Nunc et in hora mortis nostre.
The Leopard. Tomorrow morning from 9:30 and across the day on BBC Radio 4.
This is BBC Radio. It's midnight. On behalf of everyone here at Broadcasting House in London, may I wish you a very happy New Year.
BBC Radio 4, the news just after midnight on January the 1st, 2019. This is Corrie Caulfield. Two of the Border Force's biggest ships are being brought back from overseas to deal with migrants crossing the English Channel. The Department of Transport says a ferry company with no boats, which was given an emergency government contract, won't receive a penny up front. 3 people have been stabbed by a man at Manchester Victoria Station. The Prime Minister has said that 2019 can be the year that differences are put aside if MPs back her Brexit deal. A NASA space probe is closing in on the most distant object ever explored in the solar system. The Home Secretary Sajid Javid has said that 2 UK Border Force ships will be redeployed from the Mediterranean to the English Channel to deal with migrants crossing from France. Mr Javid has been meeting officials from the National Crime Agency and the Border Force to discuss what he's declared a major incident. He also said the government was looking at ways to make sure migrants who came in small boats would be returned to France. 12 more people who arrived in Kent this morning are being interviewed by immigration staff. Our correspondent Simon Jones reports from Dover.
As Sajid Javid returned to work this morning after cutting short a family holiday, another inflatable boat carrying migrants arrived on a beach in Kent. 9 men, 2 women and a 10-year-old child were found at Greatstone. With the government facing strong criticism from some of its own MPs that it was not on top of the problem, officials from the Border Force and National Crime Agency were summoned to the Home Office. Mr Javid, though, was quick to dampen any expectation that there was an easy solution to stop people risking their lives crossing the busiest shipping lane in the world. But he said Britain would seek to return to France some of those attempting the journey, while patrols in the Channel would be stepped up.
I've made a decision today to redeploy 2 of the Border Force's largest vessels, which are known as cutters, from abroad back to the UK, back to southeast England, and they will be joining a cutter that's already there and 2 other coastal patrol vessels that are there.
Downing Street insisted it was Mr Javid's decision to return early from abroad and that he had the Prime Minister's support. In the past 2 months, at least 239 people have succeeded in reaching Kent in small boats. The Home Office will not say how many have claimed asylum, but in 2017 a total of 26,000 applications for asylum were made in the UK. That compares with almost 200,000 in Germany. And figures from the Greek government show 485 migrants have arrived on the Greek islands in the past week alone.
There have been accusations that the authorities in France aren't doing enough to stop people trying to cross the Channel. But the country's Interior Minister, Christophe Castaner, has insisted that action is being taken against people smuggling gangs. Our Europe correspondent Damien Grammaticus has been speaking to migrants in Calais who hope to make the journey.
The port at Calais is ringed with barbed wire and security fences, floodlights and cameras. Nearby is a sweeping sand beach, and parked up in the dunes behind it are police vans full of officers monitoring the city and coast. It's here the refugees try to sneak through, boarding small boats in the dead of night. Mostly men from Iran, Afghanistan, Eritrea and elsewhere, they live in small, squalid encampments. Having trekked all the way from their home countries, the few hundred refugees here are determined to reach the UK any way possible, so just 1 or 2 boats head out at a time. Mohammed from Iran told me he'd tried twice in the past week, setting off in a tiny boat with 10 other men who'd all paid smugglers to help them. He's trying to reach the UK because his wife and children are already there. On their first attempt, they'd run out of fuel. The second time, they'd got close to the English coast and phoned 999 seeking assistance from UK coastguards, but he said a French vessel turned up instead and they were returned to France. The reason refugees are increasingly trying the sea crossing, we were told, was that heightened security around French ports and the Channel Tunnel has made it almost impossible to stow away on lorries and trains. It's in desperation that people are turning to boats instead.
The Department for Transport has insisted that a company with no trading history, which has been given a government contract to run ferries, will get no taxpayers' money unless it meets stringent conditions. Yesterday it emerged that ministers had allocated millions of pounds to the firm called Seaborne Freight, even though it has no ships. Our business correspondent Joe Miller has the details.
In the past few weeks, government contracts worth more than £100 million were awarded to 3 shipping companies to ferry lorries across the Channel in the event of congestion at UK ports after a no-deal Brexit. But while 2 of the firms awarded are large multinationals with existing fleets, one, Seaborne Freight, is a British start-up, which the BBC revealed was given a £14 million contract despite never having sailed a single ship. Yesterday, the Department for Transport stood by the firm, saying it had carefully vetted the company's commercial, technical and financial position before signing the deal. But following criticism of the arrangement from MPs of most major parties, the DFT clarified that due to its lack of a trading record, Seaborne Freight was obliged to meet a number of stringent time-stage requirements before it was handed any taxpayers' money, and that if it did not provide an effective service from Ramsgate from the 29th of March onwards, its contract could be cancelled. This is seemingly markedly different to the £47 million contract given to a French firm, Brittany Ferries, which the BBC understands would retain some of the money even in the event that Brexit contingency plans were not in fact needed.
3 people have been stabbed by a man with a knife on the tram platform at Victoria Station in Manchester. 2 members of the public were taken to hospital for treatment. A British Transport police officer was stabbed in the shoulder. A BBC producer, Sam Clack, was on the platform when the attack took place. He says the attacker shouted Allah during the incident and suggested a motive as police arrested him.
As I walked past, I looked around and I heard the man say, it was, as long as you keep bombing these countries, this sort of stuff, and I'm using a cleaner term for broadcasting than I would have otherwise used there. If this sort of stuff happens, then this is going to keep happening. This is why he's got pepper spray coming down his face, and while the police are trying to pin him on the ground and he's trying to get up.
Theresa May has said that Britain can turn a corner if Parliament backs her Brexit deal. In her New Year's message, the Prime Minister says that 2019 could be the year in which the UK begins a new chapter. Here's our political correspondent Jessica Parker.
It may still be holiday season, but Theresa May isn't missing any opportunities to work on selling her Brexit deal. The Prime Minister's New Year's message tries to tap into the sense of exhaustion that some feel about the ongoing Brexit debate, saying that if MPs get behind her, then Britain can turn a corner and move forward together outside the EU. She also suggests that such an outcome would allow more focus on other things like housing and education. While the Prime Minister's New Year's message may be to the country, it is ultimately Parliament she's trying to persuade ahead of the meaningful vote due in mid-January. But with the Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn saying that the government's made a complete mess of Brexit and plenty of opposition on her own benches, Theresa May's stated hope that 2019 can be the year that differences are put aside may seem to some a little optimistic at this stage.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin has visited the scene of an explosion that caused a block of flats to collapse, killing at least 4 people. As many as 40 others are missing, feared trapped in the rubble after the blast in the city of Magnitogorsk, more than 1,000 miles east of Moscow. Rescue workers have been searching for survivors in temperatures of around -20 Celsius. From Moscow, Sarah Rainsford reports.
The blast ripped through the 10-storey block of flats, sending a whole section of the building crashing to the ground as fire broke out. It was early morning in Magnitogorsk and a public holiday for New Year's Eve, and most residents would have been in bed at the time of the explosion. Officials believe it was caused by a gas leak. By early evening, President Putin himself had flown to the scene as the scale of the disaster became clear. State television showed him visiting an injured boy in hospital and being briefed by rescue workers who set up an emergency headquarters in a tent at the site. Several dozen people are still unaccounted for, feared buried beneath the heap of concrete that was once their home.
The U.S. State Department has confirmed that an American man has been arrested in Russia on suspicion of spying. The Russian authorities say Paul Whelan was detained on Friday but gave no details of the allegations against him. U.S. officials say they expect to be given consular access to him. A NASA space probe is preparing to gather information from the most distant object ever explored in the solar system. The New Horizons craft will fly past Ultima Thule, a ball of dust the size of a mountain. The probe has been sent a final set of commands to ensure its cameras are in the right position to capture the encounter 4 billion miles away. Here's our science correspondent Jonathan Amos.
New Horizons has already made space exploration history with the first ever visit to the dwarf planet Pluto just over 3 years ago. Since then, the probe has pushed even deeper into space and is now about to sweep past its next target. Ultima Thule is a big block of frozen material left over from the formation of the solar system. New Horizons will be grabbing gigabytes of pictures and other scientific data as it hurtles past at 14 kilometers a second. Scientists think Ultima may have preserved within its form and chemistry the conditions that existed right at the start of the solar system, some 4.6 billion years ago. If that's so, Ultima could help explain how all the planets, including Earth, came into being. Alan Stern is New Horizons' chief scientist.
It's a completely unknown type of object, something that's been kept in the deep freeze at just 40 degrees above absolute zero ever since it was formed. And we have no idea what to expect. It's just going to be a complete writing the textbook from scratch experience.
The mission scientists will have to be patient, however. Slow data rates mean it'll take almost 2 years to download all the pictures.
The UK stock market had its worst year for a decade, ending 2018 12% lower than it was at the start of the year. The 100-share index closed its final session at 6,728, down 6 points on the day. Wall Street also recorded its worst annual performance since the financial crisis in 2008, losing more than 5% over the year. But reports of positive trade discussions between the US and China helped the Dow Jones Index end the day 265 points higher at 23,327. On the currency markets, the pound is up 0.6% against the dollar at $1.27.5. Against the euro, sterling is up 0.5% at €1.11, making a euro worth 90 pence. Now for a first look at the morning papers. All at sea is the headline in the Daily Mail, which along with the Sun accuses the Home Secretary of performing a humiliating U-turn by recalling 2 ships to help tackle migrants crossing the Channel. The Daily Telegraph calls the decision by Sajid Javid a significant escalation. The Independent says some energy firms have got rid of cheap tariffs ahead of the introduction later today of a cap on bills. The consumer group Which is calling on the regulator Ofgem to investigate. In the words of the Daily Mirror, childless couples have been given hope that the postcode lottery for free IVF will end in 2019. It says MPs are set to consider a new law to make access to treatment fairer. The Times leads with the findings of a YouGov opinion poll under the headline "Optimistic Brits are defying the gloomy Brexit outlook." It says many people are in stoical spirits, with half of those questioned believing that their personal finances will remain the same or improve after the UK leaves the EU. People around Britain have been enjoying fireworks celebrations to welcome in the new year. In London, Big Ben sprang back into action to mark the moment with the traditional bongs as 100,000 people gathered on the banks of the Thames. These people travelled from around the world to Edinburgh to see in 2019 at the traditional Hogmanay party.
I looked it up on the internet and I read that it's an amazing party, so we came here.
It's great here. I come from Austria and it's really great. Yeah?
I celebrated New Year's Eve in New York and it was not as great as here. I have a really great time. It's amazing.
Yeah, Sydney's very family, lots of kids. This is not family, this is people having a good time.
The headlines again. 2 of the Border Force's biggest ships are being brought back from overseas to deal with migrants crossing the English Channel. 3 people have been stabbed on a tram platform at Manchester Victoria Station. A NASA space probe is closing in on the most distant object ever explored in the solar system. BBC News.
And the news was read by Corrie Caulfield. Corrie will be heading off to the ski slopes in the next day or so, but for those of us spending the first day of 2019 rather closer to home, let's take stock of the weather, shall we, with Alina Jenkins. Morning, Alina. Happy New Year.
Hello, Mark. Good morning and Happy New Year to you. The final stages of 2018 brought a lot of cloud across the UK, which meant the sunshine was fairly limited on New Year's Eve. Durham was the sunniest spot with 3.3 hours of sunshine. The cloud also put a cap on temperatures across much of England and Wales. Liscombe in Devon only managing a high of 7 Celsius, whilst Tane Range in Easter Ross was the warmest place in the UK, temperatures there reaching 13 Celsius. Meanwhile, Cluny Inn in Westeros was the wettest place on the last day of the year, with 20.4 millimetres of rain, a little over 3/4 of an inch. Through the early hours of 2019, we're going to keep a lot of cloud across southern Scotland, Northern Ireland, England and Wales, with the odd spot of rain for western fringes. The clouds slowly getting eroded from the north. A peppering of showers continuing for northern and western Isles of Scotland. Strong and gusty winds here before slowly easing down through the morning. The temperatures dropping to between 4 and 7 Celsius in many places, but down to 1 to 4 Celsius across parts of Scotland and northernmost England towards dawn. So for New Year's Day, we'll see high pressure moving more to the west of the UK, a weak cold front moving southwards. By this stage, just a band of cloud with some occasional drizzle. There'll be a good deal of sunshine through the morning across much of Scotland, northern England and the North Midlands, although still a few blustery and wintry showers for the Northern Highlands and the Northern Isles. For Wales, Northern Ireland and the rest of England, a fair amount of cloud initially, but becoming increasingly sunny